Hello and welcome to this sad day on Tim Connolly drums. I'm sure that a lot of you already know about Ozzy Osbourne dying today, July 22nd, 2025. He died in Buckinghamshire, United Kingdom. He was born December 3rd, 1948 in Marston Green, United Kingdom. And I'm not sure if a lot of people know that or not, but he was an Englishman. A lot of people maybe think he was American because, and if you heard him talk, obviously you knew that he was from England, but some people thought that he grew up in the United States, but he did not. He actually grew up in the United Kingdom and later immigrated to the United States. So I'm not going to get into, Ozzy's past and all that stuff, even though, I'm going to touch on it here a little bit. But I just want to talk to you about what Ozzy meant to me and what Black Sabbath meant to me and how it affected me. I was really affected by this death today. I had to go teach drums. And of course, I told all my students, and some of them had never heard of Ozzy because, they're 10-year-old kids and they're not into heavy metal music and they've never heard of Ozzy. But I told them about what Black Sabbath particularly meant to me. So when I was young, I used to wander around my house. I had 4 sisters and a brother, and they all had their own rooms. We had a pretty big house upstairs, I remember. And I would go in one room and they'd kick me out. I'd go into another room, they'd kick me out, And each room had a different music playing. So that's where I got my musical background, so diverse. Every room I went into, I got booted out. But every room had different music going on. All of my sisters and brother, they all listened to different music. Some of them would, they mutually liked the Beatles, for example, or they mutually liked Tom Jones, the girls, not my brother. But I went into my brother's room and he actually didn't kick me out. And he was playing Black Sabbath. And I asked him, what is this? And he told me it's Black Sabbath. And he told me about Ozzy, the singer. And I was mesmerized. And I was probably, 5 or 6 at the time. And I was hooked right from day one of listening to Black Sabbath. The first time I heard them, I thought, this is truly incredible. And I grew up loving Black Sabbath. Now, I was so happy to see Bill Ward playing drums with Ozzy, with Geezer Butler, with Tony Iommi. The real Black Sabbath, the way it should be with the 4 original members that formed in 1969. What a fantastic band. Let's be honest, they started metal. Ozzy was the godfather of heavy metal, and Black Sabbath as a band started it all off. We would not have any metal today if it wasn't for Ozzy and Black Sabbath. I'm telling you. They were really, really something. And I always thought that Bill Ward was not recognized the way that Bonham was recognized, or even Ian Pace from Deep Purple, or some of the other really fantastic drummers of that time, Cozy Powell and whatnot, Carmine Appice even. I always thought that Bill Ward got robbed a little bit of some of the fame that he deserved, because he was a fantastic drummer, and I love the way Bill plays. I think he's great. Listen to the Wizard. The drumming on the Wizard is just incredible. Also, listen to the dynamics. If you listen to Iron Man or Sweet Leaf, there's some really great drumming in those tracks. So I encourage you, if you're a young person and you're not familiar with Ozzy and Black Sabbath, go back and listen to all those early Black Sabbath records. You won't be disappointed. It's really awesome stuff. Now, I'm not going to go into heavy detail about when I met Ozzy and Tony, but I did meet them. I'm going to give you the Cole's Notes version because I already did a video about this specifically. But I was playing a gig at the Docks in Toronto. Ozfest was happening or starting the next day. I think it was a 3-day fest at the time. This would have been back in late 90s, early 2000s. I'm playing a gig. The lights go down on me when I'm on stage. I look out in the crowd and I see these 2 guys sitting there, and I'm like, geez, those guys look like Ozzy and Tony Iommi. And I was kind of thrown off. I'm like, can't be. Even though later I thought, but wait a second, it's Ozzfest tomorrow. But it could just be a couple guys dressed up like Ozzy and Tony Iommi. Didn't think anything of it. So then, I keep playing whatever, and the lights come back up. I can't see them again. Lights go back down. I see them, and I'm like, that is got to be Ozzy and Tony. When I'm done, I definitely got to go talk to those two. Now, nobody was actually bothering them at the time. So, set's over. I jump off the stage, and I try to go to where they were sitting, basically, where I thought they were sitting. They weren't there. I'm like, oh, man. I go outside, and don't I see them in the distance away from me? And I kind of, not run, but I quickly walk over to them, and I just said, hey, can I just want to talk to you guys for 1 second. I know you're busy. I don't want to bug you. Turns out it was Ozzy and Tony, and I just said, hey, I'm a big fan. I've been a fan of you guys since day one, and I'm the drummer in the band that was just performing, and I just wanted to say hello and let you guys know how much you mean to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at Ozzfest, because I had tickets to go to Ozzfest. And Ozzy says to me, you're a good drummer, mate. Which to this day, I never forgot that. And then Tony said something to me along the lines of, how long have you been playing drums and this sort of thing. It was a very quick conversation. They're asking me questions, and I'm thinking, shouldn't I be asking them questions? But anyways, it was a very quick little meet and greet, and I just said, okay, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. I'll leave you alone. I don't want to be a fanboy, even though I guess I kind of was. But anyways, that was my moment with Ozzy and Tony, and I'll never forget it. Now, I know that Ozzy had a lot of trouble with alcohol and drugs, specifically drugs. And I know that I preach no drugs. Don't use drugs, kids, on my channel an awful lot. But I firmly believe that Ozzy would have been a lot healthier had he stayed away from that. And, it just absolutely proves my point. When you abuse your body when you're young, it eventually will catch up with you. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Abusing your body with drugs and alcohol and other things when you're young will catch up to you. 100% correct. You want to stay healthy, kids? Stay away from drugs. Now, it's amazing that Ozzy lived to be 76 years old. That is unbelievable that he lived that long, because this guy is a notorious abuser of his body. But at the same time, he reminds me of my brother and my uncle, who both, my brother's still alive. He's a little bit younger than Ozzy, but he's in rough shape. My uncle died young. He was in his 60s, my Uncle Louis. But they both have the same attitude that Ozzy had, and that is, I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it, and if it kills me, so be it. Now, sometimes people talk tough, but I really believe my uncle, he lived it, because he was told, you got cancer, you got to quit drinking, you got to quit smoking, and you have to completely change your eating habits. Your life has to change completely, and we're going to start you on chemo and other things that are going to help you to live longer and save you from cancer. My uncle said, screw that. I'm not changing my life. I'm not doing chemo. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just going to die happy doing what I've done all my life. And he did. He lived by it. And I feel like Ozzy kind of did that too. He lived his life the way he wanted to live it. He enjoyed his substances. He enjoyed the party life. He lived a life that none of us can understand unless we're really in that world. One thing I will say about Ozzy is that from what I've heard about him, he didn't appear to be a super stressed guy like Michael Jackson and Elvis and a lot of, Kurt Cobain. They're depressed, they're stressed, they're always worried about stuff. I'm not saying Ozzy didn't worry about stuff, but he always turned to Sharon. They were very close. And it seemed to me that Ozzy always had a sparkle in his eye. And he never seemed to let the demons overcome him. Now, there were times where he was very depressed. When he got fired from Black Sabbath, it was Sharon that actually saved him. And it was Sharon that said to him, you need to start a solo career. Instead of lying around your cabin all day doing nothing and getting high, we need to get some musicians together. We need to get a solo album out. And that's how Blizzard of Oz was born. It was Sharon that motivated him to get off his lazy ass, depressed ass, because he'd been fired and moping around for months after he got fired from Black Sabbath. And Sharon said, it's time. And I love Ozzy's solo stuff. I really, really love, especially his first two albums. Just incredible. And of course, the great legendary Randy Rhoads on guitar. He was unbelievable. And Lee Kerslake on drums. Now, I don't think Lee is alive anymore, but he was the original drummer on those first two albums, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, the drumming on Crazy Train is legendary. Over the Mountain, legendary. So I just wanted to get on here, and I didn't want to be a bandwagoner, but I just wanted to get on here and say this did hit me pretty hard. We're losing all our rock stars. You know, I'm going to see Paul McCartney November 21st. He's 85 years old. My son and I are going to see him. I had to go and see him because he's not going to be around much longer. Let's be honest. He is not going to be around much longer. When Ozzy died today, I thought to myself, I did the right thing getting those tickets. They weren't cheap to go and see Paul McCartney. But I believe I did the right thing because you're only going to get a chance to see these people maybe once, twice, whatever. I saw Ozzy live twice, once with Black Sabbath and once as his solo stuff, Ozzy at Ozzfest, because I did attend that concert that I mentioned earlier in my story. Now, I just did a video about Ozzy's Back to the Beginning show, his last show. He did 4 Black Sabbath songs and he did 5 Ozzy solo songs. And I actually thought, other than the fact that he was having trouble walking because of the Parkinson's disease, I actually thought he looked pretty good. He sang decently. I saw him in 2018, I think it was, with Black Sabbath, and he was terrible. But I thought he sang pretty good at that last show. And I was so shocked today to find out that he passed away. I had no idea. Based on what I saw on that show, and it was very secret, nothing was leaked, that he was near the end. I mean, I knew he was sick. I knew that he wasn't 100%, he wasn't able to walk and all that, but if you look at him at that show, he was so happy. He played the crowd well. He looked fairly good. Had no idea that the guy was right at the end of the road. I mean, it really shocked me today because of the fact that he just did that last show. And like I said, he looked pretty decent. I was very fortunate that I was able to catch that entire live stream. Very fortunate to be able to watch that now, because I'm hoping that they re-release it, because I think they took it off YouTube. I'm hoping they put it back out again, because that's now, you know, a legendary show. So, man, I know that a lot of you guys are going to be grieving out there with me in regards to Ozzy, and we've got to keep this music alive. We've got to keep Ozzy's music alive and Black Sabbath's music alive. So I can't encourage you enough to pass this music down through the generations. Give it to your kids, give it to your grandkids. If you got great grandkids, give it to them. Let them hear it. Let's keep this fantastic, beautiful music alive. Anyways, let me know if you ever met Ozzy, or you had any kind of dealings with Ozzy or Black Sabbath's music, or anything that you want to discuss with me about Black Sabbath and Ozzy. I try to respond to most comments that people put in my videos, and this one hit me hard, like I said. Let me know how you felt, and we can sort of mourn this loss together. Like I said, we're losing our rock stars, and it really hits me right here in the heart, because eventually they're all going to be gone. There's nobody replacing them. Let's be honest. There is nobody replacing all these the legendary rock stars, you know. Eventually they're all going to be gone, and that'll be it. So we have to enjoy them while we can, you know, while they're still alive, and of course we're still alive. So anyways, guys, Ozzy, rest in peace, and I want to thank you guys for watching and putting up with me in this video, and as always, keep drumming. Rest in peace, Ozzy. See ya.